rules of the market. Second, make it safe to put money in banks. Yep, always. FDIC insurance created security for families and stability for the banking system. And third, banking should be boring. Glass-Steagall built a wall so that banks couldn't use government-guaranteed deposits for high-risk speculation. And here's the amazing thing. For half a century, those new rules worked. There wasn't a serious financial crisis, and the financial sector did its part to help produce sustained, broad-based economic growth that benefited millions of people around this country. And then, in the 1980s, a new political wind swept across the country. They called it deregulation. But what it really meant was get rid of the cops on Wall Street. The Fed and other bank regulators just looked the other way as big financial institutions invented new ways to trick their customers, first through credit cards and then ultimately through mortgages, home equity lines of credit, and a whole host of other financial products. The wall between the high-risk trading and boring banking was knocked down, and Glass-Steagall was eventually repealed. Washington turned a blind eye as risks were packaged and repackaged, magnified, and then sold to unsuspecting pension funds, municipal governments, and many others. Now, not long after the cops were blindfolded and the big banks were turned loose, the worst crash since the 1930s hit the American economy, a crash that the Dallas Fed estimates has cost this country a collective $14 trillion. So the way I see it is that the moral of this story is simple. Without basic government regulation, financial markets don't work, period. That's just an empirical fact, clearly observable in 1929 and clearly observable again in 2008. It's a point worth repeating because for too long, the conventional wisdom has been you can be for rules or you can be for markets, but you can't be for both. That is not a choice. Rules are not the enemy of markets. Rules are a necessary ingredient for healthy markets, for markets that create competition and innovation. And rolling back the rules or firing the cops can be profoundly anti-market. We need rules. Now, I don't kid myself. Not all rules promote innovative and competitive markets. So a big part of what we have to talk about is what the tests are that we should use to make sure that the rules promote healthy competition and innovation. So I just want to say, I think we start with two principles that work pretty well for more than 50 years after the 1929 crash. First, financial institutions shouldn't be allowed to cheat people. Could I have an amen on that? You know, you say it and people laugh, but it's the truth. Markets work only if people can see and understand the products they're buying, only if people can reasonably compare one product to another, only if people can't get fooled into taking on far more risk than they realize just so that some corporation can turn a quick profit and move on. That's true for families buying mortgages, and it's true for pension plans buying complex financial instruments. No cheating. Second, financial institutions shouldn't be allowed to get the taxpayers to pick up their risks. Anat, that's for you. That's right. That's true for using insured deposits for high-risk trading, and the reason that we had Glass-Steagall, and it's true for letting too big to fail banks get a wink and a nod guarantee of a government bailout. Now, the departure from these two principles in the 1980s and 90s paved the way for the 2008 crisis. Our best hope for stopping the next crisis and for creating financial markets that are safe and competitive and innovative is to return to these basic principles. No cheating people and no pushing your risks off onto the taxpayer.